There I was in front of the lodge, my real adventure about to begin.
Captain, everyone will be in the library, just inside. If Barrett were here, he'd probably tell you that you're part of something bigger now, and he hopes you'll make this place your home.
I went into the lodge, tried to loot as much as I could, but found I was pretty locked off, so curses. Deciding to follow the story, at least for now, the game went into exposition mode with Constellation.
What happened to our friend? Why you're here and he isn't?
The pieces we already have move when they're in close contact. Now, if we add this new one to the two we already have...
The artifact. If you could place it on the table here.
I dumped off my seizure-inducing metal and watched it react. How a bunch of scientists thought an obvious spear shape was just one piece, well, I guess these aren't really good scientists.
That energy that's arcing between them, no manufactured material in the settled systems can do that. None of them. This proves
Easy, girl. Breathe. You'll have a heart attack.
She's not the only one. If they're coming together, that means there's a set.
Built by an intelligence outside the settled systems.
Still 2,000 credits for our little wager, Patrick?
You're on, Walter.
Well, if we had all the answers, it wouldn't be exciting, now would it?
With full access to the lodge, I decided to poke around and found this room in the basement. Wanting to do all kinds of mods on my gun before I went out again, it quickly became obvious that I'd need to level up before that happened. Level up by a lot. So in true Bethesda fashion, I was going to have to grind. So I decided to go meet the other members of the Constellation. First, there was this guy who was Walter Stroud, who was the money behind the whole operation.
My frustrations lie more with Barrett. Not the first time his shenanigans have jeopardized one of our ventures. Not fair of me to...
I tried to make contact with Vasco, but he's
My primary
sociopathic.
function has been to support and protect Barrett during his travels. I am currently unable to do so. That is as capable as I can be of missing anyone. I believe Barrett would find your question amusing.
Well, I suppose that station in orbit has more than paid for itself.
This is all exciting, but...
Then I jabbered with Mateo, who seems to be the alien origin guy of the group.
Are you doing okay? I'm not sure anyone really asked yet. Don't want you to think we're focused on the artifacts and nothing else.
Finally, I talked with Sarah, who was the clear adventuring companion material. And knowing Bethesda, a couple flirts would probably lead to a love interest, because that's totally how things work in real life.
That is. We'll have to figure out. It's what we do.
Trying to get around a little bit of the grind and realizing I was missing some stuff, I decided to do a little shopping. I snagged a hunting rifle for the scope, this little cool looking silenced revolver, and then pushed on with the story. Our first lead for the next object was suspiciously here, at a Vanguard recruitment center. I debated joining for a hot second, but decided to follow the main story for at least a mission or two.
I still haven't given up on getting Sarah to re-enlist.
It's a game we play. He asks. I say no.
Here's what I got for you two. Vanguard volunteer by the name of Moera. Helps patrol the old neighborhood. Sol, Mars, Neptune, you know.
The Sol system? Which admiral did he upset to get that posting?
He's Martian, born and raised. Not like I can get anyone else to care. Word is he's got some fancy metal ornament he's been showing off to the old grounders. Matches that description Sarah gave me.
He sent us off to Sol System, which houses Earth, which, according to all science fiction tropes, has to be a backwater shithole. Still, I wanted to see what Bethesda did with the good old cradle of humanity.
We're ready to
Maintain your
depart.
current course while we scan your ship's cargo.
Landing on Mars, we went to the center of all things information. A bar in Cydonia.
Oh, what a lovely view of the Martian sky. Frankly, I'm a bit surprised to find such a delightful spot in this rather drab city.
And thank you, 1/4 gravity.
Completely underground was a clever way of keeping the city shielded from the harsh Martian landscape.
Material. Till I discover that space travel turns my stomach in knots.
Anyways, I trundle on into Cydonia, poked around a hair, checked out the jail and the lead jailer who gave off strong mission giver vibes,
We just haven't found out what yet.
So we struck oil?
and, of course, ran up to the bartender.
Plenty. But if I went blabbing them to any rando that walks into my bar, no one would ever tell me anything around here. You don't do this job for 45 years by losing your customers' trust.
He immediately got pissy about handing out information.
You don't guess. You know that. And you better know it if you want to keep drinking in my bar. You ain't been around. Went off
And then
patrol,
instantly handed out
back in
information about the
sense.
dude we were looking for.
We're starting to think it might be time to pour one out to the blackest sea.
To launch.
We got the next lead in the scavenger hunt to check a satellite around Venus, actually having to sneak up in the ship to avoid the attention of several pirates that were right nearby, and that was kind of a cool little mission. The flying isn't as good as Star Citizen, obviously, but then again, Starfield isn't meant to be a simulator, so I was never expecting it to be. Information gathered, we popped off to Earth's moon, Luna, for the next link in the chain. I docked up with the station, looking forward to seeing what a trade station would look like in this game.
Captain?
The dead body at the entrance pretty much explained it to me.
2 steps in and we're already looking at a corpse. Okay.
I snuck around in my Predator armor, trying to remember to occasionally engage my boost pack when I shot, so I got credit for both stealthing and boost packing on the skill grind. So Starfield, unlike other Bethesda games, has implemented something I had in my own tabletop RPG sessions. If you want to improve a skill, you have to actually use that skill. So for example, you can't sit around making knives all day and suddenly be an ace shot with a pistol. Still, the requirements are a little weird. Being a loot goblin, I eventually just started eating everything in my pack so I wouldn't be over encumbered. I could see that was going to be a problem, like it is in all Bethesda games. We methodically cleared the station, Sarah actually being a pretty useful partner in this endeavor.
But this whole star yard is overrun. I've patched up my ship, and I'm heading to Neptune. Going to put in another request to get the fleet out here to deal with...
After a lot of poking around, I eventually found the dude's data slate and the next lead, his actual ship being around Neptune. Why he'd tell the pirates exactly where he was going, well, he clearly wasn't a rocket surgeon.
Wait, you see that? There's a ship just drifting out there. No time to take in the sights. That could be our vanguard.
I have to admit that this attack caught me off guard, as I thought that we'd just link up and dock our ships together. But I actually had to disable his ship. I'm still not sure if I did it right, but it worked. So with his ship still active and shooting at me, I activated the cutscene to link up and board, basically short-circuiting the attack. I wasn't too sure what to expect inside the ship, but it turned out the pirates had taken over, so we cleared them out.
Am I glad to meet whoever you two are. Looks like we're all in one piece. Any day you walk away...
Still not sure how the pirates controlled the ship to shoot at us while Moira had control of the bridge, but I decided to let that sit and grab the artifact. Back at the lodge, I jabbered with Noelle for a hot second, one of the members I had missed the first time around. She was apparently the Spock of the group.
I guess a lot overwhelming, now that I think about it. I'm Noelle. It's really nice to meet you. It fits.
We plugged in the artifact and it became clear that there were going to be a lot of metal chunks to fill in the pattern. I also began to suspect that putting all of these together might not be the best idea, but I'll have to wait to see if I'm right on that. I decided to poke around the lodge again to see if I missed anything, and realized the whole upper level was now open. I began looting until I came to this room, which, suspiciously, was empty, because it turned out to be my room. I stored a bunch of my stuff and headed back down to the basement. My brief leveling proved I was still woefully short of being able to do the mods I want. So back I went to the wilderness for a brief tour of scanning and carnage. I figured this would be a quick way to get some XP. And then the true gift of Starfield, digging through shit piles for loot. Bethesda's always been good at seeding their world with little locations to poke around in, and Starfield's no different. Each one felt lived in, and that's a pretty cool feat. Expecting a fight at each one, most were just loot locations with few people actually living there, although most offered some kind of mini-mission in the encounter.
That should be the last of them. Thanks for the help. I don't think we would have lasted 5 minutes against those things without you.
I kept pushing out, hoping for more mini missions and XP, but it was clear there wasn't a lot to be had. There were more poop piles, though. Then I grabbed this alien egg, because literally nothing bad has ever happened by picking up an unhatched alien egg. I kept risking my life to get scans in, but thankfully the local fauna wasn't too deadly. Some of the locations were suspiciously empty, some only had one person but no mission, just an opportunity to chat. I kept touring the planet, but the locations were a bit of a ways away, and I found myself wanting some kind of vehicle to fly between them. But with fast travel disabled for locations that you haven't unlocked, that wasn't a possibility. I have to admit that this part made me jump, and I wasn't expecting the heat leeches to actually attack, but they were pretty damn aggro this time.
Please help me! My brother was attacked by some nasty creature and isn't going to make it much longer. He needs a med pack.
I kept hearing the sounds of heavy combat this way, but I only found this rando with a spectacular taste in clothing.
Seriously.
The combat that followed did give me another chance to scan a hawk, though. Whatever that combat was, it wasn't at this location. This was just a chance to scan a bunch of fungi-like structures. I decided to head to a trade station to sell off some loot, but it turned out that it was just another station that had been raided by pirates. I was beginning to wonder if there were any trade stations in this game. I tried to use the opportunity to score stealth attacks to up that skill, but I really only managed one. I'm still not sure what I'm doing wrong here, but I'll eventually figure it out.
I adequately assisted you.
That out of the way, I decided to check another link in the constellation chain by heading to the Eye, which was where another member of the constellation was hanging out, alone.
We got a rook on deck. Good to see Constellation getting some
Throwing
fresh
off
blood.
obvious ex-pirate vibes, including his Shmee shirt, I promised Vladimir I'd look for stuff for him.
An honest job. No shame in that. Some of us have done far worse.
We've all come from different walks of life.
Wish I could have been down at the lodge to see the artifacts come together. But I got a little lost peeking through the eye. And the darkness gets lit just a candle more.
That done, it was quickly becoming clear that after all that looking around and scanning, I had only advanced a single level. It was becoming obvious that to really grind, I was going to have to complete missions, and probably entire story arcs to achieve it. And that's what led me to the decision to join the military for a short stint in the next episode.
Time to get back to the world, eh?